Welcome to First Take, supplemented by Aflac.
Good day. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into First Take. Thank you for being with us. I'm Molly Karam. That is Sam Acho and Ryan Clark. Good day, guys. Stephen A is off. We've got a lot to unpack, a lot of NFL. We've got Tiger, NBA. Let's get right to it, fellas. We had a thriller on Thursday night in the AFC West. The Chiefs extending their winning streak to 7 games with an overtime victory over the Chargers. Travis Kelce had a career-high 191 receiving yards in the win, including the game-winning score in OT. A lot of people today, though, calling into question Chargers coach Brandon Staley's decision-making as he passed up opportunities for field goals in favor of fourth down attempts that failed. So entering last night's game, the Chargers went for it on fourth down 26% of the time. That's the third highest rate in the NFL. Despite the lack of success, ESPN's win probability favored each fourth down try at its point in the game. Here's the coach on those decisions.
I know that the quickest way to win a game like that is to score touchdowns, not field goals, especially considering who's on the other side. Okay, and I don't think that any decision that I made tonight, was a gamble. We felt like it was an advantage situation for us, and that's why we did it. If we didn't feel like that was the case, then we would have kicked a field goal or we would have punted. And that's the way we're going to do things around here. And, I know that our team embraces that mindset, and we're going to continue to do it every game we play moving forward.
RC, were you on board with this? Was it the right decision for the Chargers to go for it on fourth down?
Hell no. And here's the thing. There are some decisions on fourth downs that are good decisions. All of these decisions were not. When you're filling out the game and you're understanding how important points have become, you need to score points, especially when you're playing someone like Patrick Mahomes, if you believe that he is that explosive. But if you've watched the film over the last 7 weeks and you realize you're any team other than the Las Vegas Raiders, this team has struggled to score points. They're very good through the first 15, which are scripted. And as Eric Bieniemy and Andy Reid get into the game, and as Patrick Mahomes has played from the pocket, as they tried to run the football, they haven't been as good. Obviously, late in the game, you don't have a guy like Derwin James, who is your best or arguably your best defensive player, and they take advantage of those things, and you see them move the football. Patrick Mahomes gets outside the pocket, but that's not what we saw for 3+ quarters yesterday. That's not what we've seen the last 7 weeks, right? When you're playing against Jordan Love and the game is close because you can't score points. When you're playing the New York Giants and the game is close because you can't score points. I understand Brandon Staley has went about his business in this way throughout the season. This has been a team that has gone for it on fourth downs many times and made it. But let's go back to last night. The fourth down you're successful on, you run the football. They don't have Chris Jones. They don't have Willie Gay. But you continue to put the ball in Justin Herbert's hands, and you fail time and time again. Yes, Jared Cook did convert one, but when you look at overall the decisions that he was making against a team that had been playing defense well for the last 6 weeks, I do not believe it's smart. When you're playing a team that you believe can score points, sometimes you have to take points. Points on the board are better than fulfilling your ego and your analytical process. I think he should have went for it some of the time, not all of the time. And I think maybe we have a different discussion today about Brandon Staley and the Los Angeles Chargers.
RC, I disagree for a couple reasons. Number one, this game is about mentality. These fourth down conversions was about a mentality, the same mentality that took Brandon Staley to where he is today. The same mentality. Brandon Staley, let's not forget, was a coach at John Carroll in 2015 to 16. He had a mentality. That mentality brought him to the NFL, to the Bears in 2017 and 2018. And while he was there, I was on that team. I saw the way this guy moved. Took the Bears to the #1 defense, was a part of that defense. He wasn't the coordinator, but he was a huge part of the defense. Took him to the #1 defense. Fast forward a year, 2 years later, he goes to the Rams with a mentality. The LA Rams takes the LA Rams to what? The #1 defense as the coordinator of that team, as the leader, as the guy who's bringing that kind of mentality. Gets the head coaching job this year for the LA Chargers. Doesn't have to go far, but now he's the head coach. And now he's making decisions that we as players love. RC, you're a Super Bowl champion, right? You're also a Super Bowl champion caliber football analyst. As an analyst, you hate the move because you go back, you look at it. But if you're a football player on that team, you love the move because your coach is putting you in the best position to win the game. I want the ball in my hand when it's time to win. If I'm the quarterback, if I'm the running back, if I'm Eckler, if I'm Herbert, I don't care. Give me a chance to win. Yes, they did convert on that fourth down that run in the fourth quarter, 13 minutes left. So if you're saying, well, maybe you should have ran it instead of passed it, I could maybe rock with that argument. But I'm not rocking with the argument of, hey, we should have kicked the field goals, because in all reality, there was one to Jared Cook that was barely overthrown. There's another one to Parham. Unfortunately, suffered a really, really tough injury, but it was a perfect pass in the first quarter. And so, no, I have no issues at all with what Brandon Staley did. He's giving his team a mentality, and that mentality has brought his team not only to 8-6 and 5th in the NFC, that same mentality, this exact same going for it on fourth down mentality, won them the game when they played this same Chiefs team in week 3. Week 3, fourth quarter, going for it, less than 3 minutes left, and they convert. And so for me, there's no ifs, ands, and buts about it. There's no doubting. There's no second guessing. It's a mindset, and that mindset is causing this team to go to the playoffs.
Yeah, man, they got their doors blown off against the Baltimore Ravens, though, right? It allowed you to lose this game last night. I'm not saying that it's not about a mentality. The mentality is we will always try to win. But there's also a mentality that says we're going to do the smart things to be a smart football team. It's not about ego, right? Well, a mentality is about physicality, right? A mentality is about our approach to competition. A mentality is not necessarily that we are always going to do this because this makes me seem more aggressive. This makes me seem like I'm attempting to win the game. You know what's attempting to win the game? To do the right things, right? Attempting to win the game is allowing kickers to kick, because that's what kickers do. The only place kickers get kicked is in Jacksonville. But other than that, kickers are on the team to allow you and help you score points. And so last night, I felt like there were times where Brandon Staley took points off of the board in hopes of more points. And that wasn't necessarily always the correct decisions, not even when it's just talking about hindsight. If I think I can stop a team, give me 3 more, make it 7, make it 10, and them have to score on me twice and not once.
All right, Acho,
I'll
last
take
word
that
here.
as a football player.
RC, you're right to a certain extent. It's not about doing this always, not about going for it always. But if you heard what Brandon Staley said, he said in those specific situations, it was the right decision. This is not an always thing. It was about those specific situations against this specific team. And so if you take it in the aggregate, of course, you never do it always. But for these specific plays in this specific game against that specific quarterback, you go for it. You believe in your team. You put points on the board, even if you don't convert when it matters.
We'll have more on this later. Let's move it forward. So Patrick Mahomes improves to 12-0 in road division games. The only quarterback with a longer road win streak in division games is Joe Montana and Peyton Manning. So good company to be in right there. The win almost cementing the Chiefs to win the AFC West per our analytics. So, Acho, I'll ask you this. Are the Chiefs the best team in the AFC?
Oh, absolutely. Beyond a shadow of a doubt. The only shadow of a doubt could be the New England Patriots, who are a little bit behind them. That's a little bit of shadow. But the way that the Chiefs are playing right now, let's start with their defense. Yes, I get it. They struggled last night without their star defensive player, one of their stars, Chris Jones. They struggled. But the last 6-7 weeks on their win streak, they have been dominant, giving up 9 points, 14 points, 9 points. So defensively, they're great. And then what we saw the last 10 minutes of the game, including overtime, what Patrick Mahomes was able to do, what Travis Kelce was able to do, 10 catches, 191 yards. We saw what Tyreek Hill, like this play right here, for me, I play linebacker. This dude caught the ball, outrun everybody, ran into the end zone. Tyreek Hill does the exact same thing. If the Chiefs are able to put it together, which you're seeing shades of them putting it together, if they are, this team will be extremely, extremely dangerous come playoff time. As I mentioned, there is a shadow, and that shadow is over in New England in Massachusetts with Bill Belichick. I get it. That's the shadow. But the Kansas City Chiefs at their best, oh, man, they're going to be a team that nobody has a chance to beat.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. I think it's the New England Patriots. I think it's the consistency in which the complete teams plays with. I think it's always being able to look at this team and understand what you're going to get. You're going to get great defensive play. You're going to get multiplicity defensively. You're going to get an offense that's going to run the football, put their quarterback in the right positions to succeed, and a quarterback that's going to make quick decisions and make those decisions in time to give his skill players opportunities to make plays after the catch. I believe this team has gotten better and better as the season that's gone on. And when I look at a matchup between the Kansas City Chiefs and the New England Patriots, I love the way that the New England Patriots can attack them defensively, because the Kansas City Chiefs not only don't run the football well, but they refuse to run the football. And that's the way to attack this Patriots defense. And then offensively, they're going to run the football down the Kansas City Chiefs' throat. They're going to be physical, and then they're going to make timely plays, whether it's using trick plays or using Mac Jones in the play action game. And so I do believe that if it comes down to pick 'em, it's going to be extremely hard to ever bet against what we've seen Patrick Mahomes do at his height. But when we're talking about teams and consistent play and showing that they can consistently be good in all three areas, I believe the New England Patriots have that edge.
All right, Chiefs on a 7-game win streak. Speaking of the New England Patriots, has the Colts-Pats rivalry been renewed? Once Peyton and Tom, now it's Carson versus Max. Saturday night, we have a matchup of the NFL's third highest scoring offense, the Colts, put up more than 28 points per game, and the highest ranked scoring defense, the Pats, adding more than 15 points per game on D. RC, this is going to be a good one, especially how these teams match up. Is this a bigger statement game for the Patriots or the Colts?
I think it's a bigger statement game for the Indianapolis Colts. Carson Wentz was brought here to win football games like this. Frank Reich felt like he could put Carson Wentz in the right positions where we could see 2017 Carson Wentz, which we believe was one of the best football players in the world. And that's what he needs to be on this weekend. The Colts need to show that this run game, that this extremely fast defense can play against a team like the New England Patriots that are going to be extremely physical, a team like the Patriots that are extremely sound, a team like the Patriots that's on a 7-game winning streak. This is what the Colts were supposed to be. Since they ran out of luck, we've been waiting on them to have a quarterback. We say that they could just get Jacoby Brissett to play, then they could be all right. If they could just get Phillip Rivers to play, then they could be all right. This is a team that gave the Buffalo Bills all they wanted in the divisional playoffs last year. So now is their time. Now is their time to show that now that we are coming along incrementally, we can beat the big dogs in the NFL. We can beat the big dogs of the AFC. Do I think that they'll win? I don't. But I do believe they have a puncher's chance. And within that puncher's chance, it's going to be on Frank Reich and Carson Wentz to find a way to beat Bill Belichick and Mac Jones. This is a huge game for the Indianapolis Colts, not only because of the standings, but because of what it will mean inside of that building as far as it goes to competing for a championship the way that they are constructed now with Carson Wentz.
See, I disagree with that, RC. I think that within the building, I think the players in that building already believe. I think they believe when nobody else believes. That's number one. Number two, so as far as like, okay, well, we proved we could beat the Patriots. I think they know, even if they lose, they know they can win and know they can compete no matter what else anyone believes. And then number two, when I think about statement games, I think about, okay, how do people respond after you win or lose a certain game? For me, this is a bigger statement game for the Patriots and not the Colts. The reason why it's not a big statement game for the Colts is that even if the Colts find a way to win the game, and I think they will, even if the Colts find a way to win, we're not going to be sitting here saying, man, the Colts are going to be this great team, going to go win a Super Bowl. We're probably going to be saying, man, the Patriots, it was close, and they're still going to find a way. They're still better. The Chiefs still better. That's why it's not a statement game for the Colts. I think it's a statement game for the Patriots because, number one, they've already won 7 in a row, and people have said this is probably going to be one of, if not their toughest match. Obviously, the Bills, you got the Bills before and after they won the first one against the Bills. But if you go and beat a team like the Colts that's won 6 out of 8 and that is playing really, really, really good football, to me, that's a bigger statement for Mac Jones as a quarterback. We know who Bill Belichick is. We know what their defense is. But it's a statement to say, wow, this Patriots team, yes, okay, they actually do overtake the Chiefs for the best team in the AFC. But even if the Colts win, ain't nobody going to really care about it.
Yeah, I don't agree with that. If the Colts win this game, we're talking about beating a team that has just won 7 games in a row. You're talking about beating a team that is coached by the greatest football coach, at least NFL coach of all time. A team that has been running roughshod through the AFC. A team that hasn't lost a football game on the road. There's so much going on in New England. We talk about from the offseason of Bill Belichick putting this team together until now with the way that this team is finally playing. There is no way on God's green earth that we come in here Monday morning and the Indianapolis Colts win this game and we are not talking about the consequences and implications of what this means. There will be questions on first take. Can the Indianapolis Colts win the AFC? Why? Because they've beaten a team that we're talking about having an opportunity to be the best in the AFC. They're beating a team that coming into this weekend were the top seed in the AFC. They're beating a team with the quarterback in Carson Wentz who hasn't won huge games, not only this year as a Colt, but in his career. We have to remember, Nick Foles took the Philadelphia Eagles to the Super Bowl. Nick Foles is the guy that has the statue. Nick Foles is the guy that had little mannequins in people's locker. And so when we look at this team, this will be a huge game for Carson Wentz, a huge game for the Indianapolis Colts organization, and a huge game for 2021.
I mean, you're right in some respects. It'll be a big deal on Monday, right? When we come and talk about it on Monday, maybe on Tuesday, maybe even on Wednesday and Thursday. But after a week or 2 or 3, when the Patriots bounce back against the Bills, when the Patriots keep on winning, we're not going to be sitting here saying the Colts are the team to beat. I don't think we will. I think don't get me wrong. I believe in the Colts. Like I said, I think they're going to win this game. I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with come playoff time. But when it comes to public persona, when it comes to how people view teams, I don't think that a win in the Colts versus the Patriots is going to change so many people's minds in the long term about the Colts. In the short term, maybe, but in the long term,
certainly
no.
puts them in the conversation of the elite teams. Guys, let's pick this one. RC, who wins, and do you think it'll be close?
You know, I do think it's going to be close. I think this will be an extremely competitive game, but I think the New England Patriots and what they can do defensively with multiplicity in attacking Carson Wentz and attacking this run game, and also offensively understanding that this is a defense that wants to play sideline to sideline, that wants to turn the football over. Now you bring in that physicality of the run game with Stevenson and also Damian Harris. I think that the Colts are going to be close. I think that the Colts make this competitive, but in the end, the Patriots are just a little too much.
I like the Colts in this one, and I think the reason I like the Colts is that we're over here talking like the Colts aren't a physical football team. Oh, the Patriots are going to come in and run it down their throat. The Colts are a physical football team. Frank Reich, mentality-wise, is a physical football type of coach. And so I think that it's going to be a close game, yes, 100%. I think the difference in this game and what people aren't really talking about is going to be the Colts defense versus Mac Jones. Mac Jones has been excellent, astounding, and amazing all season long. But I think that Darius Leonard and this Colts defense will find a way to force just one turnover. That's going to be the game-deciding play in this game. So I like the Colts in a very, very close one because of a turnover that will be forced on the defensive side of the ball.
No one asked me, but I'm going to bet on Belichick's defense, and we will leave it there, gentlemen. We'll discuss it Monday morning. RC, you'll be here in studio with us. And speaking of coaches, we are all aware of the laundry list of indiscretions by Urban Meyer. But one that can't go unsaid is that Trevor Lawrence, the #1 overall pick, pegged to be the next Joe Montana, has gotten worse under Urban's tutelage. Well, it's no surprise that quarterback Trevor Lawrence, cornerback Shaq Griffin, say that they're happy that the team named offensive coordinator Darrell Bevell as the interim head coach after firing Urban Meyer early Thursday morning. Lawrence went on to say that the coaching change gives the locker room clarity and that Bevell is the perfect antidote to the chaos that has gripped the franchise almost since the moment Meyer was hired in January. Here's the new coach and the quarterback.
I really wanted, as I said to the team, you know, we're not looking back. Today's a new day. We're moving forward, and I want to move ahead. And all eyes and everything that we're doing, I want it to be on Houston.
I wouldn't believe you if you told me this is how this year was going to go. For me, I think it brings a little bit of clarity to the guys in the locker room. I wouldn't say relief, but I would say it just brings some clarity and some direction moving forward.
All three of us know where clarity comes from and where confusion comes from. I will leave it at that. I will come to you, Acho. Will Urban ever coach again?
No. I think the short answer is no. Maybe 3 years down the line, he might get an opportunity at a small D3 college or something, but I don't think he's going to coach. For me, the issue with Urban Meyer is simple. When it comes to being a good coach at any level, high school, Pee Wee, Pop Warner, NFL, it comes down to a few things. It comes to you got to be a good motivator, right? That's one. Got to be able to motivate people. I think about Brandon Staley, this conversation that we've had about him. I played for Brandon Staley, right? He makes me believe things I don't think I could ever do. I think that's what he does with the Chargers, why they're 8-6. He motivates them, number one. Number two, you have to be a good manager, right? Managing people, managing teams. Going back to college, I played, RC was LSU. I was at Texas with Mac Brown, went to the national championship. Mac Brown is a great coach because he's a great manager. He's not into the X's and the O's, no, but he passes that on to his coordinators, to his coaches. He manages them well and manages his team and his emotions and the emotions of his team. And then lastly, you have to be a good decision maker as a head coach. Going back to Bill Belichick, who we all love. Bill Belichick made a great decision a few weeks ago when he played the Bills to only pass the ball 3 times, right? I'm going to run the ball, bad weather, running attack, finding a way to win. Those are great decisions. Motivating, managing, and making decisions. Urban Meyer has failed on all 3 accounts. Talk about motivating. I don't think that kicking your kicker in Josh Lambo is very motivating if you are a player on that team, number one. Number two, let's talk about managing. I don't think that hiring a coach from college with Iowa who has a bad rap and having him coming onto your team is good management. And even going to player management, too. Having James Robinson not on the field and Trevor Lawrence saying, hey, we need our best players on the field, and you saying I didn't know anything about it, that's not good management. And then lastly, coming to decision making. Urban Meyer has proven by not flying back with his team after they played in Ohio, and he stayed there, his team went back. Then you all saw what he did at the club with the young lady. That's bad decision making. Mm-hmm. And so in order for you to be a good coach, you have to be able to lead well, lead people well, lead teams well, lead organizations well. What we have seen over the last several months is that Urban Meyer cannot even lead himself well.
Yeah, RC, let me just say something really quickly, because Tim Tebow is normally with us every Friday, and I want to make it very clear to the audience. We know that he played under Urban Meyer, and they're very close. He did not take today off. He was never scheduled to be on our show this Friday based on the college football schedule. So I just want to make that clear. And now I want to bring you into this conversation. I just want to say one thing, Ryan. I don't know if it's the cynic in me, but I believe he will coach again.
Yeah, I believe he will coach if he wants to coach. It's going to be upon Urban Meyer's desires of whether or not he coaches. We've seen people like Bobby Petrino. And listen, let's just be real about this. It's not that schools are looking or teams are looking for the best human to be their coach. They're looking for someone who they feel like can win football games. And Urban Meyer, at least on the college level, has shown that he can win football games. And you listen to Acho kind of run down some of the characteristics he feels that good coaches need to have. None of those characteristics were displayed by Urban Meyer as a professional coach, whether it was the hiring of Chris Doyle, or if it was even bringing in a friend like Tim Tebow to give him an opportunity when there were other people on that team that were trying to get a chance and trying to win football games. And then you look at the things that were leaked throughout the season that were going on in Jacksonville, it was neither Urban Meyer's actions, it was not Urban Meyer's words or Urban Meyer's leadership that you could follow in that place and actually win. That place was total chaos because there was chaos at the top. They had a man who had no idea how to lead adult men. I said that when he got the job, I thought it was a bad decision. And every decision and action that he made after that allowed me to see that he wasn't the person that was supposed to be there. He never should have been hired for this job, and he should have been fired far before he was. The reason this starts to come out and the reason this is important is because Trevor Lawrence may not only be the most important draft pick in the history of the Jacksonville Jaguars, he may be the most important draft pick in the history of the NFL. This was a guy that was said to be can't miss. He was dubbed in the 8th grade as the golden boy of football. And for him to not progress, for him to have to come out publicly and say what things are going on, for him to be a young dude who seems to be everything you want in an all-American quarterback. Married at a young age, married his sweetheart who he's been with for a ton of time, did everything he was supposed to do at Clemson on and off the field, a Christian, all the things we've loved about many of the people that we have worshiped as an outside fan base. That's who Trevor Lawrence is. And to see that becoming something that wasn't progressing, to see him seemingly being ruined as a rookie, The NFL wasn't going to stand for that. But believe you me, if Shad Khan wasn't forced to fire Urban Meyer, he would not have. And that's why the cynic in you is correct. If Urban Meyer wants to coach, he will.
Sam, before you jump in, RC, I have to go back to something you said because it's very strong. Why the most important draft pick ever?
Because what Trevor Lawrence signifies for this league is that when they feel you are perfection, when you are dubbed as perfection, when there is no doubt that you belong, when there is no doubt that you're going to be a future Hall of Famer, you can't be ruined. The NFL can't allow you to not be a star. You're already in Jacksonville, which is a small market. They have to make people know that you can be in a small market and be drafted by a small market team and still be one of the bigger stars in the world, not just in football, but in the world. They have to know that you can go to a team that hasn't been winning and make that team a winner. They want to give the look of parity in this league. They want to give the look that as long as you wear a helmet that has the NFL logo on it somewhere, that you can achieve. That wasn't being shown. Trevor Lawrence was supposed to dispel anything that we've ever heard about becoming a star and being successful in a small market in a bad place. Urban Meyer was not going to allow that to happen.
Now, RC, you're making some really, really great points, especially when it comes to how this whole thing went down, how all the things were, the news was leaked and the reports were being filed. When I saw the report, I saw a couple of them, but the last report about him kicking Josh Lambo, then Lambo came out and said, hey, yeah, he kicked me. He literally told everybody what happened. I said, oh, this dude is gone. Like, this dude has got to be gone. Urban Meyer is gone. Despite everything else that had happened. There's so much happened. I was like, man, they're going to keep him. Oh, with the girl, they're going to keep him. Oh, with hiring Chris Doyle, they're going to keep him. Oh, they're going to keep. And then with that, I was like, man, it seems like there's a story that's being told. And to RC's point, it's kind of true, right? You cannot have your star franchise leader, not only for his team, but supposed to be a face of the NFL, come in and just have this dark cloud over him. And so all of a sudden you get rid of the dark cloud. Now there are new horizons. For Trevor Lawrence, the rookie quarterback, to have to go and say, man, it just feels like things are better now. There's more clarity. For him to have to go and say, put our best players on the field to your head coach, that's a problem. And so to RC's point, this is bigger than just Urban Meyer. This is an NFL issue, and I'm glad that they made the change.
You're right. And Trevor Lawrence has been class act and said and done all the right things. But it's so true. Even with all his talent, where you're drafted as a player is so critical to your success in your career as an NFL player. We've heard people say it time and time again. We'll leave it there, guys. We'll have more on this a little bit later in the show, but still ahead on First Take. It has been a roller coaster for Aaron Rodgers. I love this question. Would it mean more for his leg to his offseason? That bad man has the Packers currently the 1 seed in the NFC. All systems go in Green Bay as the team looks like the team to beat. But will this success persuade Aaron Rodgers to stay in the green and gold? Yesterday on Get Up, our own Diana Rossini said not so fast.
The sense I get from talking to different people around the league is that there's going to be more drama to follow, and that Aaron Rodgers is most likely going to leave the Green Bay Packers organization. And, we talked about that in the offseason leading into this year, that this was going to be it for him. I don't think a Super Bowl is going to matter.
Okay, gentlemen, let's do this. So Diana is saying a Super Bowl this season won't matter for Aaron Rodgers, but Acho, I'll ask you this. What would mean more for his legacy? To win one in Green Bay or win one elsewhere like Tom Brady and Peyton Manning?
Yeah, this one is easy for me. I think win another ring in Green Bay would mean much more to Aaron Rodgers' legacy than another ring somewhere else. Let's not forget, the last 8 times that the Green Bay Packers have been in the playoffs, they've lost. Aaron Rodgers went to 1 Super Bowl, and that was back in 2010, and he won it. RC, I know you remember that game well. No shade. They won. They won that game, and ever since then, all that he's done.
Still salty.
I got to throw there. But I mean, that's the last time he won a Super Bowl. And so, as great as Aaron Rodgers is, as great as a quarterback as he is, as MVP caliber that he is, the last 2 times he went to the playoffs, he lost in the conference championship. 2 years before that, he lost in the conference championship again. He also lost in the division round. I'm not saying that he's not a great quarterback, but what I'm saying is if you want to build a legacy, I think you do it again in Green Bay before you leave and try and do it somewhere else.
No. Come on, Sacho. Come on, man. You got like 17 degrees. I know your brother got 18 degrees. Y'all are a smart family. Ain't no way you believe this. That is the totally wrong way to look at it. Because what have we been saying about Green Bay the whole time? What did we say the entire offseason? Green Bay isn't doing what they need to do to help Aaron Rodgers win Super Bowls. Aaron Rodgers and Brett Favre were at this in this organization for 30 years, and they've only won 2 Super Bowls with 2 of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Right now, we're blaming everything on Green Bay. So guess what happens if Aaron Rodgers doesn't win one in Green Bay and he goes somewhere else? We're going to say, you know what? I always knew Aaron Rodgers was never the problem. Aaron Rodgers is a force multiplier, as Bartholomew Scott might say. Aaron Rodgers can go other places and win championships the same way we feel about Tom Brady. We already knew he was the GOAT because he was in New England, but we felt like, but Bill Belichick might be the GOAT. It might be the Patriot way. Tom Brady goes to Tampa, and it's Tampa Tom. Tom is the difference maker. That's what happened if Aaron Rodgers goes somewhere else and wins a championship. We blame everything on Green Bay. We say Green Bay wasted his career. He is one of the greatest quarterbacks or one of the best quarterbacks of all time. You know what? Because we look at Eli Manning. Eli Manning won 2 in New York. But we talk about all the other things that happened right, and we say Eli had 2 good runs. Ben Roethlisberger, he won 2 in Pittsburgh. He was never the MVP of any of those Super Bowls, It was, the Heinz Wars and the Santonio Holmes, and he won because of defense and run game. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, Aaron Rodgers gets to leave a legacy of him, not a legacy of the Green Bay Packers. It's not about championship town or title town or whatever you call it. It's about number 12. He need to get up out of there, go win a championship, and then he can do the discount double check wherever the hell he want in whatever state he want to do it in, because it proves the point that it's all about 12, which is what the hell he wants anyway.
One quick difference, RC, in the example that you just made. I got 2. I'm going to start with the first one. You talked about Tom Brady and his legacy. Tom Brady, his legacy, he won in New England, then he went and he won in Tampa Bay. Now he's the GOAT, right? Or maybe he was the GOAT before. Now there's no question it's not.
He was already the GOAT, right?
Already the GOAT, yeah. Tom Brady won 6. Tom Brady won 6 in New England.
True statement.
A-Rod got 1. So Tom Brady got 6. That's number, and then he left and he got another one, right? So that's my whole issue with, you go and you went somewhere else. That's number 1. Issue number 2, and I think people need to think about it this way, because this is the way I think about it. If Aaron Rodgers, he stayed in Green Bay, last dance, rah-rah, we're going to do this thing. Michael Jordan with the memes, and his girlfriend was doing it, and Devontae Adams, everybody's on the side, right? Everybody, right? Shailene Woodley, I used to love her in the movie.
Right.
Everybody on the side. And he comes, I still love her, she's a great actress. And then he comes and loses again in the NFC Championship game. 3 years in a row. I'm going to be shaking my head just like you shaking your head right now, Beer. I'm like, man, what happened?
Yep.
What happened in that fourth down, or third down? We didn't kick the field goal. But, man, you had a chance to make a throw, make a run, and go score a touchdown. Man, the year before, you didn't do it. Man, 3 years in a row, you didn't do it. Aaron Rodgers, so you're going to lose all these playoff games and then go somewhere else and win and say, it's because my team was so bad. No, how about you win where you are, like Tom Brady did, win 6 of them things, win 2 of them things. Don't even give me 6. Give me 2. The examples you gave, Eli Manning, boom, got 2 of them, right? Big Ben, give me another one here, and then go win somewhere else. But don't abandon ship because you said it's going to be the last dance.
Hey, Damian Sacho Lillard, you need to listen,
right? Whoa. Hold your horses. Hold on, horses.
Listen,
hold on.
Damian Sacho Lillard talking about, stay there
don't
and
put that
win.
On me.
No, Sacho, you are missing it. Because you know why they didn't beat San Francisco? Because they gave up 300 yards rushing. And then last year, what did we talk about? Matt LaFleur. Why wouldn't you kick the field goal on 4th down? And so we've truly never blamed this on Aaron Rodgers. We always felt, Aaron Rodgers is good enough. It's the team, right? You go back to Seattle years ago. We got dudes missing onside kicks, allow Seattle to come back. Seattle wins in overtime. We have never truly looked at Aaron Rodgers and said, Aaron Rodgers, you are the reason that you only have 1 ring. We've never thought that way. That's never been the way that we looked at him. And so now, if he goes somewhere and wins it, Molly, you know what we're going to be talking about on First Take the next Monday? What? Stephen A. is going to be dragging out he's a bad man for an entire segment.
He's really going to be holding that high now. Hold up. One more second. Okay. I want a picture. We're all in Vegas right now. We don't have sweaters on.
Okay.
And we're gonna bet a trip to Maui on it. All right? We're doing it right now. So is Aaron Rodgers back with Green Bay next season? RC up first.
Absolutely not. This is it.
Okay.
Sacho mentioned The Last Dance. This is The Last Dance.
Sacho, where are you?
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think he's coming back. I don't think he's coming back next year at all. I think that this is going to be the last dance. I don't think he's going to the Super Bowl this year. I think he's probably going to do what RC said and go win somewhere else and blame it on the team. But I will say this, RC, one quick comment.
One thing, though,
okay,
hold on.
Molly,
the only reason I feel like he might be back is I just don't know where's a better situation for him to win right now. So it's almost like he would be back by default. Because where are you going to tell me? He goes to Pittsburgh for Big Ben. He takes over for Danny Dimes in New York. Like, where's the spot? Because he's going to want to win now.
Yeah, I think the spots are hard. You know, Denver Broncos, I believe, were always a team that was in the running for Aaron Rodgers. It was a team that he was linked to and a team that we obviously knew was preparing to have an opportunity to get him in free agency. And so I think that's a team that we can look at who's playing great defense now, has a great run game. Maybe they can win there. Obviously, you got to see Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert for 4 games, so that may be difficult. And also, when you're Aaron Rodgers and you believe you are that important, you look at situations differently. You don't look at situations for what they are. You may look at a Pittsburgh Steelers team that is 6-6-1 and say, well, if I'm quarterbacking this team, it's different. I do see the Claypools. I do see the Deontay Johnsons, the Freiermuths, the Najee Harrises. I understand they're beat up on defense. And so there are places for Aaron Rodgers. And sometimes, Molly, you're not leaving because the grass is greener. You're just leaving because you hate the grass you got on your yard.
Fair enough. Acho, you want final word here, or are we good to go?
I mean, my quick thing to RC, you make a good point, and I think the point is this. Aaron Rodgers doesn't see other teams the way that we see teams. He sees teams not what they are, like RC said. He sees teams as what they could be with him on them. And so throwing out a team maybe like San Francisco, and I get it, right? San Francisco, you got Trey Lance, you got Jimmy G.
You're right. He's from up there, too. I didn't even think of that.
So he's saying, okay, you put me in San Francisco with our defense, with our weapons, with Debo. All of a sudden, give me a year, give me 2, whatever. All of a sudden, I can go get my ring.
And a good coach.
And a good coach. And so for me, Aaron Rodgers, great coach. Aaron Rodgers has a different perspective than all of us.
No, you're right. Okay, guys, we'll keep it rolling here. Still ahead on First Take. Baker Mayfield took to Twitter to voice his displeasure with the NFL's COVID protocols. He's hot on Twitter these days. Does Acho think that tactic worked, and should we expect a postponement? And Patrick Mahomes sure looking like the old Showtime late last night in the Chiefs' thrilling OT win. Will Casey's masterpiece set the table for another chip? It's first. Adam Schefter, take a look at this tweet. Washington quarterback Taylor Heineke out for Sunday. He is on the COVID-19 list. The cases keep climbing and climbing. Let's continue the news there. The Browns add another name to their COVID-19 list as well. Their backup quarterback, Case Keenum, testing positive. That, according to our Kimberly Martin, starting quarterback Baker Mayfield, already tested positive for the virus earlier this week, remains on the reserve COVID-19 list. Nick Mullins, just added to the active roster Thursday, is now in line to start at quarterback for the Browns. Mullins started 16 games for the San Francisco 49ers between the 2018 and 2020 seasons, but has yet to throw a pass for the Browns. Mayfield criticized the league on Thursday, tweeting, NFL, make up your damn mind on protocols, showing up and making only 3 teams test. Also, you can keep the games as scheduled to make money. Also, the Washington football team COVID-19 list grows. Obviously, I just mentioned the breaking news on Taylor Heineke. They already had 21 players on that list. Here with me now, Sam Acho, current vice president of the NFL Players Association. I'm glad to have you for this discussion, Sam. Obviously, cases are climbing as we're nearing the playoff stretch. Over 20 on the Browns and on Washington. What is your reaction to Baker Mayfield's criticism of the league?
Well, first of all, as a player, I'm 100% with Baker. He's 100% right. The NFL, as we know, their whole job is to make money. And so they're not overly concerned about player safety or player health. They want the league to make money. That's the end goal. And so if that's their goal, they're accomplishing it well. But they should have a second part to their goal. The second part should be to care about the health and the safety of their players. And so what Baker Mayfield is referring to is that this team was in intensive protocols, right? This team was gearing towards intensive protocols. All of a sudden they go and they practice and they come out of practice, and instead of testing before practice, they go and test after practice. And he feels like it's because they have to go, because the league wants them to go and play the game, which the league does, right? Now that's my perspective. Now from the NFLPA's perspective, the NFLPA has been negotiating with the league, and there's even ongoing conversations as we speak, but has been negotiating with the league for the last few months, trying to say, hey, we would like daily testing, right? No matter what, daily testing. The NFL has said, no, you know, we're okay. We'll stick with that if you're unvaccinated, et cetera, et cetera. And so the NFLPA's perspective, is that, well, if we would have been having daily testing, none of these issues would have happened. We would have known if there was someone who was asymptomatic and now was spreading the virus, we would have seen that beforehand. We wouldn't have had these issues. And so now what's happening is you're seeing the league, all teams, going into intensive protocols. There are going to be no more in-person meetings, at least for the next 10 days. You're going to see no meetings with more than 3, what we call tier 1 or tier 2 individuals. That's players or coaches. You cannot meet with more than 3 of you in person outside of the facility. All these protocols are being put into place in order to try to finish the football season. Now, we as players, we want to finish the football season, but we're saying, like what Baker's saying is, hey, if we don't have our head coach, our players, our running backs, our receivers, hey, maybe we should postpone the game. Maybe we should play it later. The NFL does not want that.
Okay, two things you just said. Why is the NFL pushing back on the daily testing? Is that because of cost?
Well, yeah, I believe it's because of cost. This is like combos that happened before the season started. Hey guys, let's figure this thing out because we don't know what COVID is going to look like.
Yeah.
And because of cost, obviously, the NFL saying we don't want to have to pay for all these tests every single day. If players are vaccinated, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. But the issue is 95% of players are vaccinated, and so we're still seeing COVID spread.
And we're still seeing the problem. All right, tell me this: would you feel comfortable playing in this Browns game as a player? Based on all the cases on that team.
Say it one more time. I didn't hear.
Would you be comfortable playing in this Browns game, this Raiders-Browns game, which is Saturday, tomorrow?
It depends who I am, to be totally honest, right? Here's the thing. If I'm Baker and I'm not playing, of course I don't want the game to be played. Of course I'm not going to. If I'm Jarvis Landry, if I'm Stefanski. But if Baker was playing, and let's say a backup or a third string or maybe some backup O-linemen weren't available, it would be a different story. This is what I call internal locus of control, things that you can control. I can actually control this. I'm on the field. I can help our team win. But now that Baker can't, now that Jarvis Landry can't, now that Case Keenum can't, now all of a sudden I think it changes the math a little bit. It increases a competitive advantage, and that's where the issue lies.
Absolutely, and look at the Taylor Heineke news we just had as well. There's a lot more I want to get into on this, but we are out of time. We'll revisit it a little bit later. Thank you, Acho. Appreciate your perspective. Much more First Take ahead. We'll revisit last night's OT thriller. The guys debate whether the Chargers' gambles cost them their season. Plus,
some weeks with people getting a ride home. I think certain people deserve to go and find their way home after the way they play.
And Dak is like Denzel on training day, standing in the middle of the hood saying, you think you can do this to me? He about to show the world that Rain Dakota Prescott is still an elite quarterback.
Can we please give Steph Curry a standing O, gentlemen?
Is it going to be 4,000 when he retires?
If they're playing the Knicks, it'll be 4,000.
We always have a good time here on First Take. Work hard, play hard. That is the motto. And I found myself a friend and a 2-time Super Bowl champ. Rob Ninkovich here with us. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Guys, let's get into it. And we're going to start with Thursday Night Football because we had a good matchup, an OT thriller. That's where we go right now. The Chiefs extending their winning streak to 7 games with an overtime victory over the Chargers. Travis Kelce had a career-high 191 receiving yards in the win, including the game-winning score in overtime. A lot of people today calling into question Chargers coach Brandon Staley's decision-making as he passed up opportunities for field goals in favor of 4th down attempts that failed. Entering last night's game, the Chargers went for it on 4th down 26% of the time, the 3rd highest rate in the NFL, despite the lack of success. ESPN's win probability favored each 4th down try at its point in the game. Here's the coach on those decisions.
I know that the quickest way to win a game like that is to score touchdowns, not field goals, especially considering who's on the other side. Okay, and I don't think that any decision that I made tonight, was a gamble. We felt like it was an advantage situation for us, and that's why we did it. If we didn't feel like that was the case, then we would have kicked a field goal or we would have punted. And that's the way we're going to do things around here. And, I know that our team embraces that mindset, and we're going to continue to do it every game we play moving forward.
All right, let's start right there. Ningo, I want to start with you. Did you like the decision to go for it? Was that the right call?
Well, I liked maybe once or twice, but I wouldn't say as many times as he went for it on fourth down. And if you do that, you will lose. And I know there's the analytics and the computers of it and all that stuff going into it. But I do know this. If you take the points, you win that game. And at the end of the day, if it was a fifth, right, there's a lot of ifs in everything that we do. If you can go out there and you kick field goals, they win that game. And I really think that them going for it, they watched the tape afterwards. They're watching it right now. They're really kicking themselves for missing out on a lot of opportunities where those points would have definitely put them over the top against Kansas City.
RC?
Yeah, no, listen, I agree with Nico. When you think about football and when you think about having to score points and that scoring points are at a premium, it's any points. It's not just about scoring 6. If it was only about scoring 6, we just wouldn't have kickers on the field. And so Brandon Staley does want to be an aggressive football coach. Brandon Staley wants his team to he believes that they can compete and that they can accomplish things because they have the right type of players, obviously at the quarterback position. But these were not all the correct moves. You go for it early on in the game when the first points of the football game are the hardest to score. Now you have 3 points and you're up and you're feeling good about your team. You're not stopped. And later on in the game, you get a football tipped by Dan Sorensen. That's another opportunity where you can have 3 points on the board. And now you are invigorating a Kansas City Chiefs team that is missing 3 starters on defense. A Kansas City Chiefs team who is also not playing well offensively. You're continuing to keep them in the game when you could be widening the lead. And so to me, Brandon Staley has coached this way the entire season, and sometimes it's worked, sometimes it hasn't. But I do believe what Nico says is true. It's not that I don't want him to go ever on fourth down. I want him to be calculated about not only what it means analytically or not what it means on the scoreboard, sometimes what it means mentally, sometimes what it means as far as momentum. It's great to have a long drive, but it's better to have a long drive and walk away with points. Right? It's great to have great field positions, but it's better to have great field position and walk away with points. If you drive the football on me for 80 yards and you go for it on fourth down and I stop you, I feel good as a team. That's still 0 on the scoreboard, and I still found a way to make a play. Taking those points is not only about the points on the board, but about what it means for the momentum of the game.
You know what also feels good as a defender? When you drive the ball 80 yards down the field, then you hold them to a field goal. That feels really, really good. We all play defense at a high level. That feels amazing. Man, 80 yards.
That means we played on bad teams. The teams I played on, we was about giving up no points.
We talked about this, RC. We gave
up 3. We gave up 3.
RC, I played on the number 1 defense too now. Come on now. Let's not do that, bro. Come on. But what I will say is this. I get it. I played on maybe 3 of them, so there's that. But what I will say is this. I think what people aren't talking about is that first fourth down conversion, the one that was a perfect pass to Parham, the one that when he fell down, I mean, it's the reason we're talking about it is because that was like a jarring sight to see. Yeah. Like to see him, like that was jarring. And I didn't want to talk about it, but then you think about it, like the coach said it was the right decision. It was the right call. So if you make the right call and make the right decision, I still like the right call and the right decision, even if it doesn't end up working. In that case, it was because of an injury, unfortunately, and like my prayers are up for Parham. But I'm all about making the right decision, not based off of egos or anything like that. No, based off of at the right point, at the right time, in the right game, you do it. And we've seen all in the season, they're 13 for 21, right around a little over 50%. I think he's been making the right decisions.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up Parham right there because wishing him a speedy recovery, that was a scary moment. And we hope all is well on that end. Guys, so Patrick Mahomes improving to 12-0 in road division games. The only quarterback with a longer road win streak in division games, Joe Montana, Peyton Manning, good company to be in. Now, with the win, it almost cements the Chiefs to win the AFC West. That's per our analytics. So, Acho, are the Chiefs the best team in the AFC?
I believe so. I believe so, and it's close, obviously, with the Patriots. But when I think about the Chiefs, for me, it's the way they've been winning football games. Like, outside of last night, take out last night, Chris Jones was injured. Their defense has been dominant. Like that, for me, like Tyrann Mathieu, I played with him in Arizona on one of those top defenses, right? Tyrann Mathieu is a defensive leader. RC, he's a lot like you. He's the brains behind the operation. He knows how to get people in place. And he motivates his team to play better. So for me, you have a guy like that on your defense. I'm voting for him every single day of the week that ends in Y. Then you have Chris Jones, who is a dominant defensive force. You got guys, role players, guys like Alex Okafor making plays when it matters. So that's defensively. And then we can roll it around to the offense. The Chiefs' offense has sputtered. Even though they've won on this winning streak, they've sputtered. The only time they scored those 40-plus points was against the Raiders. And the Raiders aren't good. Let's put it that way. Let's just throw that out there. So if I just had to say it, I don't know a better way to say it. When the Chiefs get it together offensively, when we see what Patrick Mahomes did over the last 10 minutes of last game, when we see that for the next 7 weeks, then I think the Chiefs will be unstoppable. We got to see a little bit more, but I've seen enough for them to be my number one team.
Rob, paging Rob.
That's not.
You know what Rob's gonna say.
It can't be. But here, RC, let's go here. Let's not jump on because I'm a Patriot, ex-Patriot player. Let's just be real. You look at the Patriots and how they're playing. You can't say that their defense isn't the best in the league right now. You can't say that they don't have the most takeaways of anybody right now. You can't say that their offense isn't imposing their will on other teams and literally saying, we're going to run the football from A to B and you can't stop us. So the Patriots, in my view, just watching based on football itself, Kansas City last night, yes, they are very potent. And at some point, you could catch lightning in a bottle. But then there's also moments where you're like, what was that? What was that throw? Patrick Mahomes just threw a ball, wide open guy, threw it into the turf. Like stuff that we haven't seen the Kansas City Chiefs do in a long time. So there's moments in that game last night where Kansas City probably should have lost. But because they're so potent and they have such a great offense and they have Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes, they're able to come out and win that football game. But if you're playing the Patriots, guess what? They're going to double Kelce. They're going to put somebody on Hill. They're going to make sure that Travis Kelce doesn't get off the line of scrimmage without somebody putting a hand on him, because if you let him free release off the line of scrimmage without anybody in his face, you are wrong. So when you game plan a team like Kansas City, you have to make sure you take care of the go-to guys, or else at the end of the game, just like what happened, we saw in overtime, the ball's going to go to the go-to guy and he's going to beat you. So when you look at the Patriots, they have the best coach, they have the best talent on defense to stop a team like Kansas City. That's why they're my number one. And it's not because I played there, RC. Come on.
Oh, no, listen, I ain't played there. All they ever did was blow me out. And I think the Patriots are the best team, too. When you look at what they have been consistently over the most part of this year, you know what you're getting with the Patriots. You're getting great defense. You're getting an imposing run game. You're getting a quarterback that understands the offense, understand how he's being attacked defensively, where to make every single read and get the football out of his hand. And you have the greatest football coach of all time calling the plays and pulling the trigger. I think that the New England Patriots are exactly where they need to be and exactly the team that Bill Belichick thought he was putting together in free agency. He knew he just needed a quarterback who could run the show, and he found that in Mac Jones. Now, don't get me wrong. If it gets down the stretch and we're in the AFC Championship and the Kansas City Chiefs are playing a little bit better, it's going to be hard to pick against them because we've seen this team, that collection of men, together on that stage before. But when you look at a team from top to bottom, as the roster goes, as the coaches go, and as the way that they've been playing, the New England Patriots, to me, are right now tops in the AFC.
Yeah, can't wait to see this Pats-Colts game. Colts are favored by 2.5. All right, all three of you sticking around. When we come back here on First Take, one of the greatest athletes in sports history, Tiger Woods. The comeback begins today. What can we expect? Michael Collins joining us live from Orlando. Speaking of legends, Aaron Rodgers could win a February 23rd car crash in which Tiger Woods suffered significant injuries to his right leg and foot, left him hospitalized for weeks and immobile for months. Only recently has he emerged to show the progress he's made, and it includes playing golf with his son Charlie and getting to ride in a golf cart at a time that would have seemed inconceivable in the aftermath of that horrific accident. Woods is playing competitive golf for the first time in a year at the PNC Championship since he and Charlie, now 12, tied for 7th at the same Pro-Am tournament a year ago. Who better to give us a sneak peek than my guy, ESPN golf analyst Michael Collins. Michael, so good to see you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Absolutely. Great to hear your voice again. And, man, you know it's a good day if we're talking Tiger Woods and he's swinging a golf club.
Absolutely, absolutely. So tell me, okay, you saw him hitting. How does he look?
Okay, well, the Tiger that I know, I'll tell you this, I feel like regular Tiger's back, and here's why. It's the interaction that we had right before I came over to do this shot with you. He had just hit his shot on number 4. He went back and sat down in the cart and got out a bag of sandwiches, and I went over to ask him what he wanted me to tell everyone, and the first thing he said was, hey, you know you're not getting on these sandwiches. And Erica, who was with him, was like, hey, we share. And he goes, well, French. There's no French. I'm not sharing these sandwiches. Look, he don't need a sandwich. And we started laughing. And then I said to him, hey, man, I'm about to go on First Take. So what do you want me to tell people? Yeah. And I won't tell you what he said to me at first, but we both laughed. Everybody around there laughed. And then he said that I'm good. I feel good. But I'll tell you this. Definitely this morning he arrived probably just after 8 o'clock for a 9 o'clock tee time. He was on the range for about 35, maybe 40 minutes. He was walking very slow, and he looks like he's still not necessarily comfortable, maybe in a little bit of pain. That being said, his swing looks pretty nice, and his iron game looks spectacular.
I love that he's in good spirits. I love that he's joking. He's out there overcoming the adversity, an example for all of us, showing his strength, the Tiger that we know. But based on what you saw, Michael, what are your expectations for him this weekend?
Very low expectations for him, but I got to tell you, last time that they played, he said Charlie carried him most of the rounds that they played here on Saturday and Sunday, and Charlie's going to have to carry him again, but Charlie looks spectacular. I did tell Tiger, hey, you know Mike Thomas, Justin Thomas's dad, kind of threw you under the bus when he talked yesterday, talking about how he can't believe how far you're hitting the ball right now. And Tiger looked at me and was like, that's because of how short he hits it. I'm not hitting it that far. It's Mike Thomas doesn't hit it that far, so I just look far relative to him. And we're laughing about that as well. But expectations right now for Tiger are very low. For him, this is all about having fun with Charlie. And so far, it looks like the two of them are having a blast.
I love that father-son moment. I love that you're there to capture it all. But I want to talk about Charlie for a second. There's a lot of similarities with his game. Am I right?
Yeah, I mean,
in the mannerisms and stuff between Charlie and Tiger.
Even the way that they rub their nose, because they both have allergies, they do it the exact same way. And sometimes they don't even catch each other. Charlie will be standing next to Tiger, and they'll have the exact same pose. And I'll take pictures of them, and then I'll be like, hey, Apple, look at Tree. And they both kind of get a kick out of it. But they do the club twirl at the same time as well. Now, Charlie at 12 years old, I don't necessarily know that he's as advanced in his golf game as Tiger was, but, you know, in talking to people close to him, Charlie also, he's not all in just when it comes to golf. He just loves the game and loves playing with his dad. And, oh, yeah, happens to have his dad's genes, which then translates into a beautiful swing. Yeah. But I don't know if Charlie, looking forward, is thinking to himself, I'm going to be a PGA Tour pro like my dad. I don't know if he even has aspirations of that, because he's got so much other stuff that he loves doing as well.
All right, last thing I'll ask you here. Tiger kind of downplayed how much we would see him on the tour. But do you think he was just lowering expectations, or do you believe that's accurate?
No, I definitely believe that's accurate. I think that even with the rehab that he is going through and the rehab that he has upcoming, don't forget, this is a guy who already had 10 surgeries, 5 on the back and 5 on the leg, knee, and foot, okay? So that's the starting point, and he turns 46 in just a couple of weeks. So the fact that this now puts on top of that, I would say, and he mentioned it too, the way that Ben Hogan played. So Tiger didn't play a lot before, but to see him at 10 tournaments in the future, I think would be a lot. And that's only if he goes back to playing competitive golf, which he still hasn't said he's definitely going to do.
You know what, Michael? Sometimes the game of life is bigger than the game of sports, even though we're all fanatic sports fans. And what a special moment that he is back out there after that horrific accident, all those surgeries with his son. Such a special moment. Enjoy all of it. And if I don't talk to you, happy holidays.
You have a wonderful holidays, too. And, hey, it's Tiger Woods. As many times as we're going to tell ourselves, pump the brakes, man. It's Tiger Woods. We're not pumping the brakes because it's Tiger Woods.
Exactly.
Have a happy holidays,
and that's
everybody.
Why he is what it is. Thank you. All right, still ahead. What would mean more, a Super Bowl for Rodgers with the Packers or with another team? We get into that in just a bit. Plus, the Cowboys went from Super Bowl treat to not a safe bet. That's right. We have an HBCU showdown in the Cricket Celebration Bowl. MEAC champion South Carolina State will take on SWAC champion Jackson State, led by the SWAC Coach of the Year, the one and only Prime Time. Proud of you, Dion. That's Saturday at noon Eastern on ABC. And how about him flipping the #2 recruit? Enjoy the game. After a tumultuous offseason, that bad man has the Packers currently the 1 seed in the NFC. All systems go in Green Bay as the team looks like the team to beat. But will this success persuade Aaron Rodgers to stay in the green and gold? Yesterday on Get Up, our own Diana Rossini said not so fast.
The sense I get from talking to different people around the league is that there's going to be more drama to follow, and that Aaron Rodgers is most likely going to leave the Green Bay Packers organization. And, we talked about that in the offseason leading into this year, that this was going to be it for him. I don't think a Super Bowl is going to matter.
All right, Rob, I want to start with you. A Super Bowl won't matter whether he'll stay or not. You just heard Diana Rossini. What would be better for Aaron Rodgers' legacy, Rob? Is it to win another one in Green Bay or win somewhere else like Peyton Manning and Tom Brady did?
I would say winning one in Green Bay, the last one, cherry on top, then you go your own way, and then you try and win somewhere else. I really think that he's probably going to leave. We knew in the offseason there was issues. During the season, you can kind of throw some Band-Aids on stuff, but at the end of the day, I think after this season, he'll probably go on his way and go somewhere else. There's a ton of teams that would love to have his talent. You put Aaron Rodgers on the Saints, I don't know what they are. They're really good. So I would say Aaron Rodgers, for his legacy purposes, to win one in Green Bay. Farewell. I'm a champion here. I've won 2. I'm going to go my own way now.
Yeah, I mean, I think he obviously wants to win wherever he's playing. Like, it's not a situation about whether it matters if he wins one there or somewhere else, if he can win them in both places. Yeah, if you can add another championship to your belt in any form or in any team, you want to do that. But what's bigger for his legacy to me is if Aaron Rodgers wins somewhere other than the Green Bay Packers. If Aaron Rodgers goes and makes another team better. We spoke earlier and you said it, Molly, what situation is better? Well, the situation in Green Bay is what it is because Aaron Rodgers is there. We got an opportunity to see Jordan Love against the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't expect that if Jordan Love is the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers that they're sitting atop the NFC right now. And so I believe Aaron Rodgers understands that he can change situations, but I think he wants that, right? Aaron Rodgers wants that focus on him. He wants to go to a new place and have that place have the belief that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers had in Tom Brady before he went there. And I know what people are going to say, oh, Tom Brady got 6 championships. Tom Brady's this, Tom Brady's that. But when you cut the film on and see who's playing the best football in the NFL right now, it's Aaron Rodgers. So he would bring that to a team. And so if Aaron Rodgers leaves the Green Bay Packers, which we do not blame Aaron Rodgers for only having 1 Super Bowl, we blame the Green Bay Packers, and y'all know it's true. If he goes somewhere else and he wins another one, I think it puts him in a stratosphere with other quarterbacks who have won more Super Bowls and championships that he has because of his talent. Aaron Rodgers understands what he means to football, what he means to a team. But to win 2 chips in 2 different places puts his legacy at a whole different level than it would if he won a championship in Green Bay.
Yeah, RC, I see what you're saying as far as Aaron Rodgers taking his talents and taking it to a team and having that team be so much better. But why can't Aaron Rodgers just take his talents on the team that he's currently on and overcome all odds and win with the team that he already said didn't have good management, a team that he already said, or at least if we have been saying, has been not putting him in a position to win over the last decade. Aaron Rodgers comes in, wins with Green Bay, and then overcomes all odds is a much bigger story than leaving, because we all know what's going to happen, right? In a year from now, 2, 5, 10, 15. If he leaves and wins somewhere else, it's going to be the conversation of, nah, he didn't win 2. It'll be like, man, but he didn't win another one in Green Bay. Like, he got that one, but what happened? It'll be what happened. And so I think if he can overcome the story that he's told, right? The story he told at the beginning of the season was, man, you didn't sign this guy. Randall Cobb should have been back. Jordy Nelson, all these guys. And then you didn't do all that, and I still went back and won. I think that says more than anything than if you leave and go win somewhere else.
Yeah, I want to go around the horn on this because we talked about a couple teams earlier. I know you threw out San Francisco. I had mentioned Pittsburgh, New York, and Rob, I thought it was interesting you mentioned the Saints. So purely from a football standpoint, as a player, guys, where should he want to play to win the most Super Bowls? Is it with Green Bay or what other team? Rob, we'll start with you.
Well, I think you have to look at a place that's got a great coach, that has an offensive mind that can put you in the right positions. And Sean Payton is a great coach. He's an offensive mind. We all know what he did with Drew Brees and their relationship. And they do have the ability to win with Aaron Rodgers. And we all talked about how special Aaron Rodgers is and what the Green Bay Packers would be if they didn't have Aaron Rodgers. Yes, Tampa Bay's in the same division. But do we expect to see Tom Brady in 3 years, 2 years? I don't know. Is he going to play till he's 46? He probably thinks so. But the odds are against him to play till he's 45, whatever. It's not. But anyway, I just think that when you look at a place that needs the quarterback to let that whole thing go with a coach in place that is very smart and has been there a long time, it'd be really tough for Aaron Rodgers to go to a new city with a new head coach and a new coordinator and everything new, and they go out and get all these pieces and him to be the guy. I think if he goes somewhere with some stability, with a head coach that's been there, with a great offense in place, it'd be a good spot in New Orleans.
RC, where would you be taking your talents?
You know what? I mean, if you can get to New Orleans, if you can get to San Francisco, I think those are 2 amazing places. But when you look at some of the things that were on the table for him last year, I think Denver would still be a good spot. Denver has a defense that's ascending this season. They're great on the back end. They did an amazing job of draft picks. They also look offensively. They're a team that can run. And now look at the weapons. You just signed Tim Patrick to an extended deal. You got Cortland Sutton. Noah Fant is the tight end. Jerry Jeudy is now back healthy. Javonte Williams looks like the second best running back in this draft behind Najee Harris. There are a ton of pieces in Denver and opportunities to win a Super Bowl. None of these places are going to look like what they'll look like with Aaron Rodgers. Just like Green Bay won't look like what they look like with Aaron Rodgers. And so it will be interesting to see which things he prioritizes and which teams offer him the best opportunities to have those.
Yeah, I will go San Francisco. I mean, I love RC. Your point was great. Nico, I like your point too. But San Francisco, think about the weapons you got. You got Deebo Samuel, Brandon Ayuk. You got George Kittle at tight end. You have a coach. You have a defense. I'm telling you, like San Francisco, and I mean, usually I don't do this, but I'm sitting here like, what if I was in the barbershop talking about this with some homies, right? Like, I'm thinking, like, I would get overly excited about San Francisco for all of those reasons. I don't care about who you're playing in your division, et cetera, because if you're going to be a Super Bowl, you got to beat everybody. But, man, you got weapons on offense, you have a coach, and you have a defense. That is a winning formula for Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I just like that because I'm all about the nostalgia and family and the coming home and the Bay Area and that whole piece. But I don't know if Aaron Rodgers and I are on the same wavelength when it comes to that, guys.
You think Aaron want to be by family?
I just said, listen, I wasn't throwing shade. I just said, RC, we might not be on the same wavelength. I was just saying myself, you know, I did the whole thing. I went out to L.A., and then the girl came back home, you know, and it was nice. I was back around family.
I understand,
but everybody's different, okay? Everybody's priorities different. I see where you're going with that, and I'm not going to touch it. We'll leave it there, guys. When we come back here on First Take, huge loss for the Arizona Cardinals. That would be DeAndre Hopkins. I'll ask the fellas, can they win a Super Bowl